welcome to More Time in the Kitchen. In this video I'll be making a sweet potato and vegetarian chili burrito with lime and coriander rice, and if you wait towards the end I'll be showing you how to wrap a burrito even if you've only got small to medium size fajita wraps, because to be honest, in the UK we don't really tend to get the big burrito style ones, we just tend to get ones for fajitas. So let's get cooking! Okay, so before I start, I've not got a full list of ingredients here, but I will put the ingredients in the recipe, which I'll link in the description. Okay, so we got most of the vegetables here. I'm going to start looking at the onion. So while I chop the vegetables, I'm just going to talk about sort of my plan for the channel. This chopping board is just going for a walk here. Yeah, so my plan for the channel, plan for More Time in the Kitchen. So I want it to be quite relaxed, quite chilled, laid back, whatever. So I think most cooking videos on YouTube they're fairly quick paced. You know, they're quite short and snappy. But what I want to do is, you know, obviously cook, but also just talk about stuff, talk about my life, or things that interest me and might interest other people. Like I want to vlog, you know. So I sort of want the atmosphere, the sort of vibe of, you know, like if a friend was coming round for dinner. So as if you were just a friend and you was round, I'm cooking you dinner, something like that. And I mean, the idea for this, it came from a few places really. So the first thing that made me think about starting my own channel was I was watching some recipes on a channel on YouTube, and it was just this Japanese couple doing bento boxes. It was just like a guy and his wife or fiance or whatever, and there were the videos that they made, they were quite sort of basic. I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't mean like, oh, you're so basic, basic bitch. I just mean like there wasn't a lot of editing. You know, it was all a lot of it was one shot, and they included, I mean, everything. So cutting up the vegetables, and even washing the vegetables, which I don't really think you need to include. I think everybody knows how to wash vegetables. You just run them under the tap, don't you? But I find it relaxing to watch. So I kept watching them. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed seeing the recipes as well. And you got the feeling that, you know, these were genuine people and they were just cooking for themselves and sharing that experience with others. So yeah, it was nice. It was just nice and calming to watch. So yeah, I'd like to get a vibe a bit like that, but maybe make it a little bit more entertaining, because as relaxing as I found it, there wasn't much entertainment value, really. They weren't really saying anything other than what they were doing on screen. Yeah, so that's the first thing that I really thought of. Sorry, that sort of gave me inspiration. Just taking the inside of the pepper out, just taking the seeds out. It's just chopping board would stay still. Yeah, but then I thought, well, you know, is this the sort of thing that other people are going to watch? Because I'm going to enjoy making it. You know, it'll just be a hobby, but it would be nice to have an audience. I don't think I'll ever go massive, but yeah, it'd be nice to have an audience. So yeah, I thought, you know, are other people going to be interested? Oh, stay still. And I thought about the other stuff that I tend to watch online, what I enjoy watching, and one thing that I suppose might be sort of similar is mukbang. Don't know how many people really know about mukbang yet, in the West anyway, because it's something that started in Korea, and basically what it is people, they sit in front of a camera and they eat. Like, they'll have this massive dish of food, and yeah, they'll just sit and eat, and they'll talk while they're doing it. They'll vlog, basically. I think some of the ones that started in Korea, it was like a streaming service, but there's now a few people who do mukbang on YouTube, and a few that do it in English. So I started watching some of those, and yeah, I enjoy it. I was a bit skeptical at first when I first heard of this, because I mean it doesn't sound good on paper, does it? Just sitting watching somebody eat, but you know, you get people watching people play games and stuff. Like, I enjoy that as well, just watching people play games. I suppose it, if for whatever reason you can't eat what they're eating, just like so like I tend to watch gaming channels because I can't play games. I'm terrible at them, so I can't like progress through a game. I can't really see the story, but then if somebody else is doing it, then I can see that. Yeah, I find that enjoyable to watch, mukbang and gaming channels, and they're quite long in duration. They're not sort of snappy. They'll be there for about, say, half an hour or so, eating and vlogging. Yeah, and you'll get long-running food programs on TV as well, I suppose, but then you're getting a few recipes in there, aren't you? But I mean, I don't tend to watch those for the recipes. If I want a recipe, I'll either look in a book, or I don't know, I might look on Pinterest, or just Google it or whatever. I'm sort of more watching it for the entertainment value if I'm watching a food program. So yeah, I suppose I wanted this more to be for the entertainment value. But I like having stuff like this on in the background. So like I say, mukbang, and what else? I watch this YouTuber, his name's a Ginger Runner, and he does videos to do with running. It's in the name, isn't it? So he has this show that he does, Ginger Runner Live, and basically what they do is they invite a runner, you know, so someone who's done something pretty spectacular recently, like they've won a race, something. Tends to be ultra runners because yeah, that's sort of distances that he does. Yeah, so they'll invite them on and they'll talk for, say, an hour. And that's the sort of thing that I just like to have on in the background while I'm cooking or cleaning, or maybe I'll be on my phone just messaging people. I just want something in the background. Just gonna get a little plastic bag so that I can put the peelings from the sweet potato in it. So I think more sort of long running things are coming a bit more into fashion, or things to sort of have on in the background. You get, I've not really watched them, but things that I've heard of are these Swedish, I don't really know the name of them, they're like really long runtime shows, and it's something really simple like a log fire burning, something like that. So again, that's something like you could have on in the background. What's another one I've heard of? I heard of one where it was footage of a wood carving competition, or was it wood carving or was it wood chopping? It was something to do with the wood. I don't know, because I didn't watch it, but I've heard of stuff like that. So I think things like that are maybe starting to become more popular. I suppose you've got either end of the spectrum. Just gonna get rid of this. Yeah, you've got either end of the spectrum. So you've got things like Vine that are like super short runtime. But the thing is, people compile them, don't they? You get like Vine compilations on YouTube. This is gonna start falling off. Hold on. Let me move these. Make way. But I suppose these sort of long running things, they're maybe taking over. Well, not taking over, but they're maybe an alternative to radio. I suppose things like podcasts are as well. But my parents are quite fond of the radio. They'll listen to the radio a lot. They'll tend to have it on in the background. I'm going to cut the sweet potato into quite small chunks just so that it cooks in time with the rest of the vegetables. Doesn't even want it too small. Yeah, I'm not that big on the radio, and I suppose I know there's other things on the radio. You get like radio shows and stuff, but I mainly don't like listening to the radio because if I want to listen to music, I'll listen to my own music. I suppose I'm not massively into like chart music. I'll listen to some stuff that's in the charts, but yeah, I'm not into chart music, and I'm not that into one specific genre. Like I wouldn't want to listen to the same radio channel that was playing the same type of music over and over again. And I've got a bit of a eclectic taste, so I'll just sort of put on a playlist and it'll play whatever I'm listening to. But yeah, I mean, I'll have anything on that playlist from like, I don't know, Slipknot to Adele. So the kind of chili that I've got here is a Scotch bonnet chili. So it's very, very hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some gloves. So yeah, you do not want to touch this with your bare hands, because even if you wash your hands afterwards, the chili will stay on there. And then when you go to I don't know, rub your eyes, or even worse, if you go to wipe your bum or something, you're gonna have a bad time, my friend. You're gonna have a bad time. So yeah, it's actually I suppose most people who cook with fresh chili will probably know this, but that's the hot part really. The flesh part here and the seeds, that's the hottest part. So I'm going to get rid of most of that. I'm not going to get rid of all of it. You don't have to use a really hot chili like this. This is just, I'm using this chili and only one of them, because that's the sort of level of heat that I like in the chili. And this I mean, there's quite a lot in the chili, so this is being spread out. And I'm also going to add salsa to it, which is going to have more chili in it, but not this chili. I'm going to add some finger chilies to that. This is going off center again. But then, like, I'm going to have the rice in it and all the other ingredients in the chili, and guacamole as well. So the recipes for the salsa and the guacamole I will put at the end of the video. Sorry, I've made videos of them, and I'll put the link to those videos in the description and at the end of the video. Just gonna find a bit of a big chunk. I'm just gonna cut that up a little bit smaller. I don't want any big chunks taking me by surprise. Yeah, but like I say, you can add any kind of chili you want, any amount of chili you want. You can add more, you can add less. You can use dry powdered chili, you can use fresh chili, you can use, there's this stuff called lazy chili. It's, I think it's like fresh cut up chili that's been preserved and put in a jar. I used to use that when I sort of was just, when I was a student and I wasn't very confident with cooking. I would just put in a tablespoon of that. But yeah, I like it a bit spicier. Okay, so that's all the vegetables cooked, so let's actually get some chili. Okay, so I've got my big ass pot here. If you don't have a big ass pot, you're more than welcome to use a small to medium ass pot. I'm going to put the temperature on like medium high to begin with, and we've got 2 packets of passata, but I'm just going to add 1.5. I find 2 is just a bit too much, but 1's not enough. If I add 1, it ends up being dry. Okay. Then I'm going to go and get my vegetables. So just toss them all in. So obviously we're not mentioning the ingredients if you've read the ingredients already in Right, okay, while that's heating up, I'm going to add some bouillon powder. So this is basically just a type of vegetable stock, so you can use any vegetable stock that you like. Just going to add a tablespoon. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar. That's just to reduce the acidity of the tomatoes in the passata. And then I'm going to add 2 spices. I'm going to add some paprika. So there's probably about 2 teaspoons I'm adding. And I'm going to add some cumin as well. So I'm adding about half a teaspoon of that, just a little bit. Give it a little stir. So this is liquid smoke. Come closer. There we go. So this basically gives anything a really smoky flavour. I couldn't find it until recently in the UK. I saw it in a lot of American recipes, but I couldn't find it in the UK until recently. I was going down the American aisle. Say aisle, it's like a little section on an aisle in Tesco's, and I just saw it. So I've been adding it to chili when I make it since. If you can't find the liquid smoke, you can use barbecue sauce. You'll have to add a lot more. I'm just going to add a tablespoon of this. So you'd probably want to add anywhere between, I don't know, half a cup to a cup of barbecue sauce. And don't add sugar, because obviously the barbecue sauce has got sugar in it already. Okay, so I'm just going to add this. Tablespoon. So yeah, it just adds a really nice smoky flavour. There are other things that you can use to give chili a smoky flavour. So I've heard of people putting in things like well, there's a paprika which is smoked, so that'll add a slightly smoky flavour, but I've heard of people putting in things like cocoa powder and coffee, just to give it a richer flavour, but this does the trick. This is all you need to add. And it's pretty strong, so you only need to add a tablespoon. I can smell it already, it smells amazing. Yum. Okay, so you're going to leave that for 40 minutes. I come to you now from the future, 40 minutes into the future. Actually no, it's the past now, isn't it? I'm speaking to you from the past. Ooh. In the past we have corn mince. Which I'm going to need a knife to open it. Right, so I said earlier that if you're using mince made from animal meat, beef, turkey, etc., to add it earlier. Corn mince doesn't take that long to cook. I think the packet says 8 minutes. I'm going to put it in for the last 20 minutes of this cooking time. I won't really overcook it, it's just because I'm adding the beans at the same time. I mean, you could add it at the beginning, but it's, I mean, you can already see it's quite fine, and it'll get more sort of mushy the longer it's in there. The more you stir it, it's going to break up more. So that I've still got a few chunks, I'm just going to add it in now. And like I said, I'm going to add the beans as well. So I've got 1 tin of kidney beans and 1 tin of 3 bean salad. So that is cannellini beans, flageolet beans and aduki beans. Okay, so I've drained those and just ran them under the tap. Just give it another stir around. If you wanted to make this vegan, well, one thing I'm going to add later is cheese, so you don't have to omit that obviously. But actually the corn mince isn't vegan, which surprised me. I thought it was vegan, but apparently it's not, because it contains egg. So to be honest, you could just omit the mince altogether, as opposed to using some sort of alternative mince, because you've got lots of protein in there already. You've got the sweet potato and you've got all the beans. So we're going to leave that for another 15 minutes and then we're going to add some sweet corn and peas. Okay, so the lime coriander rice really isn't anything complicated. So the first thing you're going to do is just boil your rice however you normally boil the rice. I usually do mine in a microwave rice cooker. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to make 4 burritos, so I just want enough for 4 burritos, although the chili recipe will make anywhere between 6 and 8 portions, depending on whether you're having it in a burrito or just with the rice itself. So I'm just going to have 4 handfuls of rice, 1 handful per burrito. That should be about right. It might make a bit too much, but I'd rather have too much than too little. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do with the chili is just add some frozen peas and sweet corn. Stop rattling you. Okay, so I'm going to add about half a cup of each. That's about right. Good. Okay. Give it a quick stir. And you just need to add these about 5 minutes towards the end, because they don't need to cook. Basically all you're doing is defrosting them. Okay, and I've also got the rice here, which I've boiled and drained. And all I'm going to do is add the juice of 1 lime, and add a handful of coriander, or cilantro for the Americans. And I'm going to grab a spoon and I'm going to stir it. And that's literally it. So just those 3 ingredients. It's very simple, but it just lifts it a little bit. Just adds a bit of freshness, a bit of lightness, a bit of zest. Okay, so when that's finished, it's final 5 minutes. We're going to build some burritos. Okay, so I said right at the beginning of the video I would show you how to wrap a burrito, even if you've only got small fajita wraps, if you've not got the big burrito wraps, because to be honest, we don't really get them in the UK. I did have a look for them, couldn't find any. So this is what we're dealing with, UK citizens. Right, so the answer is to put 2 together. Just layer one on top of the other. So the end of one's near the middle of the other one. I'm going to start with some rice. One thing I forgot to say is I've just heated them up in the pan, 2 minutes either side, and it just makes them a little bit more malleable a little bit more flexible. So I'm trying to be careful not to go too near the edges because we're going to fold those over. And we don't want it all spilling out. So less is more in this situation. If you can't get your hands on big burrito rolls, obviously you can add more, but we are limited here today. Okay. Right, I'm going to add I'm going to add my cheese first. This is just normal cheddar cheese. And again, if you want to make it vegan, just omit the cheese and omit the corn mince. I'm going to add my salsa. So like I've said, the salsa and the guacamole recipes I have linked in the description, and also at the end of the video I'll put those there. That's enough. And this guacamole. That's probably a bit much. Come on, get off the spoon. Going dangerously high here. It feels like it's gonna topple. But it's not. There we go. Okay. Last thing I like to add is I like to just crunch up a couple of corn chips. And pop those on top, and they just give it a nice crunch. Just another sort of another texture, because most of the fillings are quite soft, aren't they? Right, so here we go. So we're gonna fold the end over the top, and I'm gonna pull back. There we go. So it's a cylindrical shape, and all of the filling is tucked in there. We've got a couple of bits of nacho that just snuck out, but that's okay. And then, while still holding that piece, that middle bit, we're going to fold down the end. I'm going to fold it up and press it down along the side. And again on the other side, so down. I can just feel a little bit coming out there, so I'll just tuck that in. So tuck in, up, and down right the way along. And then roll over. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. What? Oh, that bit's just escaped. Tuck that in. Okay. And as another level of security, we're going to wrap it in some tin foil. And again, that will just keep everything together. And there we go. Nice, neatly wrapped burrito. Right, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth. We're going to cut open the burrito and see what it looks like inside. Oh, come on, there we go. Doo-doo-doo. Yes, look at that cross section. As you can see everything in there. We've got the guacamole, you see a bit of sweet potato there from the chili, the rice, the salsa, everything in there. Cannot wait to tuck in. Right then, time for the end result. Let's see how it tastes. It's so good. So you've got the smokiness from the smoke, you've got the heat of the chili, the guacamole's cooling me down a little bit. You've got the crunchiness from the nachos. Altogether, winning combination. Definitely recommend it. Should switch the camera off.